So, good afternoon. I am Susan Van Alstyne, Director of the Newark Campus Library.
And I'm Lori McFadden, Director of the Woodland Park Campus Library.
Okay. We had this idea when we were thinking about creating a program during Information Literacy Month in October. We then provided this presentation to several classes, and we were overwhelmed with the response as to how relevant this topic is to students and faculty. And it's because of this response we decided to share this presentation with you.
And through this workshop, we hope that you will gain a better understanding of your intellectual property rights as you progress in your careers. Review how you already use existing media while incorporating some of your creations. Explore Creative Commons licenses and how building your portfolio can establish you as an expert in your field.
Okay, and the next couple of slides, we had more interactive sessions in our classes. However, these are the questions that we asked during class. And the first one is copyright status is only granted to well-known authors and filmmakers. And that is false because copyright is granted to anyone who records an original creative work in a fixed, tangible form. Second question, the sole purpose of copyright is to make authors money and protect them from getting their work stolen. That is false. Initially, copyright was established to encourage the growth of science education and the arts. And Amy uses Flickr to upload photographs from her vacation so Daniel can download them. Is that legal? Yes, that is legal. Sharing your own original work using peer-to-peer file sharing technology such as Flickr is legal.
Okay, continuing with the questions. Jason copies the entire last chapter from the final Harry Potter book to his commercial blog without any additional commentary. Since he only used part of the work, Jason would be protected by fair use. And the answer is false. And we will explore the definition of fair use further in this workshop, but especially the fact that Jason will be earning money from this. It is one of the key signs. The next one, Adam recorded a video on YouTube about the upcoming Senate election and includes a photo taken by a government employee and 4 bills authored by the incumbent from the Senate's website. That's copyright infringement. And the answer is false. Works produced by the U.S. government or any U.S. government agency are in the public domain. The texts of legal cases and statutes produced by the federal government are also in the public domain.
Okay, so what is copyright? Copyright is a form of protection provided by the laws of the United States for original works of authorship, including but not limited to literary, musical, architectural, and audiovisual creations. Copyright literally means the right to copy.
So what are some questions about copyright? So if you have an idea in your head, is it automatically copyrighted? No, only tangible forms of expressions. So in other words, something has to be written down or something that can be measured. So if you have an idea and you scribble it on a napkin, yes, it is copyrighted.
And who owns the copyright? The author or the creator or the author's heirs if the creator is dead. Creators of a joint work automatically share copyright unless there's a contrary agreement, and then anyone to whom the author has given or assigned his copyright. So, for example, if an employer, if the copyrighted work is created under a work made for hire agreement.
So what is not protected by copyright? Unfixed works that have not been recorded in a tangible fixed form. For example, if you made up a song and you sing it in the shower but you have not recorded it, that would not be protected. Anything in the public domain as well as anything in the federal government.
Okay, and what is the public domain? The public domain is not a place, and a work is in the public domain if it is no longer under copyright protection or if it failed to meet the requirements for copyright protection. Works in the public domain may be used freely without the permission of the former copyright owner.
Where can I find public domain works? And we've listed below some sites for public domain images, illustrations, films, audio clips. And we have created a LibGuide, and we'll tell you more about the LibGuide towards the end of the presentation, that you can refer to for all of these links.
Okay, so these are images in the public domain that I'm sure you'll recognize. Or are they?
So, and this is where you'll see that copyright is a very fluid, constantly changing field, and so it's very important to try to stay on top of it. So as you saw with the examples, as two very, very well-known images that are in the public domain, both are currently being disputed, where family members have come forward and claimed that their distant relative actually owned those images.
Okay, and why is this all important? The more you know about copyright and intellectual rights, the stronger your portfolio. And a strong portfolio shows the ability to obtain and process information, which is a skill that is highly sought by employers. And a strong portfolio is key to hiring success. Hiring managers treat an online portfolio as a first pass and to determine whether they want to meet you and to see if you merit further consideration.
And in addition, the scale of theft and loss to American jobs due to the theft of intellectual property, the loss is in the billions of dollars per year. And as a result, American jobs are lost, and in all companies of all sizes are victimized.
Okay. And here are just a few examples about how to failure to comply to copyright can result in huge fines. So you may all be familiar with this poster image here, which was used during President Obama's 2008 campaign. And this poster, the artist used a photograph that was shot by a freelance photographer at the Associated Press. So the AP demanded compensation because the artist used the picture without permission. So the artist, he claimed fair use. However, the parties settled out of court. And also here we mention the Blurred Lines song, which was very popular a few years back. And the jury ordered Pharrell and Robin Thicke to pay over $7 million to Marvin Gaye's family because of copyright infringement.
Okay, and here's another example where Richard Prince is known as an appropriation artist. And what that means is he takes the works of others and uses it to create a whole new work of art with a whole new meaning. So on the left, you'll see a photograph that was taken by a French photographer. And Richard Prince took that photograph and changed it, as you see on the right, and claimed that it now has a whole different meaning and it's a whole different work of art. And the photographer sued him and won. And that case is actually still going through appeal, but you can see that it's questionable whether he actually changed the meaning of that photograph.
And another case where an architectural firm won a copyright infringement suit against the builder, and the jury awarded over $3 million to the firm, because what had happened was that the builder used the architectural firm's designs to build houses, and then the reason why the verdict was in favor to the architectural firm was because the builder profited from the sales of the houses based on those designs. And this other example, this cute little image that a vet used on their website without obtaining permission from Getty Images. So they placed this image, which they retrieved from Getty Images. However, they failed to get permission, and they were fined, and the vet had to pay. The court awarded about $22,000 in actual damages that they had to pay.
And this next case, Modern Dog versus Target, is particularly significant because it shows some of the problems with copyright and kind of the problems with the small guy versus the big company. And this small design firm called Modern Dog in Seattle put together a series of sketches of dogs and put them in a book, as you see on the left. And Target and Disney took those designs and put them on a t-shirt. So the Seattle firm Modern Dog sued them. And the court, as you can see, since 2011, the lawsuit is still dragging on. And Modern Dog had no idea how long and how expensive this would take and cost to try to defend themselves. And they were recently forced to sell their studio to cover the legal costs and are just about out of business trying to defend themselves.
Okay. And what does this all mean to you? We have detailed information about how this relates to other designers, graphic designers, and interior designers on our LibGuide, but we wanted to focus on fashion designers because fashion designers have the least protection, because the clothing is not really considered art. So you may be wondering, well, what about some Ralph Lauren's Polo Pony? That's based that little trademark, and some other designers have some trademarks. However, they are not afforded copyright protection on certain designs.
And talking about fashion and protection of fashion, one of the biggest offenders is Forever 21, and they have been sued more than 50 times, and apparently they've invested in very good lawyers because they've won every one of their cases. And we'll flip through some examples of Forever 21, taken some of the things off the latest runway. As you see, a runway design on the left, and then the Target design. So they're very, very good at taking designer designs and making it their own. Here's another example of a t-shirt on the left, designer interpretation, and on the right, the Forever 21 copy. And as you all know, it's, Gwen Stefani has her own clothing line, and she has also jumped in and is suing Forever 21 for copyright infringement. But so far, Forever 21 has been able to defend themselves very well.
And going back to music, and where there's a lot of questions about copyright, before Blurred Lines, there was Vanilla Ice. Not sure if many of you remember him or know who Vanilla Ice is. And unfortunately, because of some technology challenges, we're not able to launch the video, but we do provide this link in our LibGuide. And this is a great example of how this YouTube clip is of Vanilla Ice trying to talk his way out of a lawsuit. And as you can see, the case was settled privately at court.
So the whole remix culture, which has become very, very popular these days, brings up new challenges as far as copyright, who actually owns the materials. And there's an example on YouTube of a woman who just put up a video on YouTube of her children dancing in the kitchen to Prince's Let's Go Crazy. And a few months later, Universal Music Corporation had the video removed from YouTube, claiming copyright infringement. And this is another example of a large corporation, Universal Music Corporation, versus the little guy.
Okay. And the jury is still out because the existing copyright laws do not adequately address the challenges arising from the digital environment. The case we just mentioned, the video has been added back to YouTube, and the case is still pending.
So we hope at this point that we've scared you a little bit, or at least made you think about copyright and intellectual rights. So you're probably saying, so what can I do to protect myself? And the first thing is just assume every image you find online is copyrighted, and that you need to rely on trusted sources to make sure that you are complying and only taking images from the public domain. And the library actually has a database in their list of databases of all images that are safe to use that are in the public domain. And finally, ask permission. Oftentimes, copyright owners do not mind allowing you to use their information. They just like to be asked.
And you can also use your industry trade association for guidance. We've listed some trade associations for graphic designers, interior designers, fashion designers, and photographers. So there was a lot of information on the association web pages about how you can protect yourself or to address some copyright questions.
And it's very important to stay on top of current trends in your field. And I know we stress this for a number of reasons, but copyright is something that changes very, very rapidly. So it's important to know where you stand in terms of copyright. For example, there is a large bill nicknamed the Fashion Bill that is currently being reviewed by Congress that will certainly change all the rights for fashion, and they're looking to change the definition of useful article to include apparel. And in addition, there are some changes as it relates to Getty Images. And finally, obtain a license through Creative Commons.
And we had mentioned some images from library databases, and here is an example of our ImageQuest database.
And unfortunately, we cannot play this video, but we do strongly encourage you to follow the link and play this video about Creative Commons when you have a chance. Again, it's found on our LibGuide. And Creative Commons has been created as a way around some of the copyright images, where copyright owners can give permission to others through Creative Commons and can even set the guidelines. For example, they may say you can use my image as long as you're not making money on it. So there's a way to go through and get music. There's a lot of the remix music is actually in Creative Commons. So we really encourage you to find out more about Creative Commons.
And here are some points to remember when you are using images or using some trying to create something here. So first, did you take the photo or create the graphic? Attribution does not make it right, meaning just because you name the creator on your web page of it, just say you take an image and you place it on your web page and you name the creator, does not make it right. You would need to also ask permission. Different uses come with different obligations. Fair use likely doesn't mean what you think it means. That's another gray area about what constitutes fair use. And again, it's your website, it's your liability. So you need to become aware of what you can use and of copyright.
And this is actually just a word graphic that we created based on the feedback from when we conducted this session in the classes. And what we did was we handed out index cards and asked everyone in the class to write down before we started, when they think of copyright, what they think of. And then at the end of the session, we asked that they flip the card around and list what they learned. And so you can see some of the things they learned, and it was really a very good session. And
this and everything else that we mentioned during the presentation, and we've also included some additional links, can be found on our LibGuide. And the URL is right here, and we will also be sharing the link with our participants today. And
that's it. Thank you. We really do encourage you to go back and play some of the videos, the Vanilla Ice. If nothing else, it will be very amusing, as well as the one on Creative Commons.
Okay, thank you.